Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Sandy Ryan scores a unanimous decision wide. Well, two of the judges had it 96-94, which I thought was too close. I had it 98-92, and that tied in with the third judge. But she gets revenge over ERICA FARIAS. Sandy Ryan, this was her fifth fight. Now, coming in, she talked extensively about how the defeat, which was only in her fourth fight, had such a negative impact. She even alluded towards suicidal ideation, which for a novice pro, I mean, I know she had quite a good amateur career, but for a novice pro to lose a fight to a former two-division world champ and to then sink that low emotionally and mentally, I hope people around her said, look, this is a massive overreaction. And I hope they looked after her because, she did some silly things in the build-up to the first fight, Sandy Ryan. She came in 4 pounds overweight. She didn't look battle-hardened physically. She certainly didn't seem it mentally, although it was a close fight, that first fight. But physically, if you compare her in the rematch, I mean, she looked like a different woman. She'd been training physically, getting herself in shape. She was far more disciplined. In the first fight, there was a strong element of her, in a sense, it was the old pro, or woman versus girl, if you like, the old pro with the young pup. And Farias kind of old womander, whatever, you know what I mean? And that was a close fight, though. This fight wasn't close, and it wasn't close because Ryan was A, in physical shape, B, had a coherent game plan, which she stuck to, and C, stayed disciplined mentally and on it. She concentrated for every second of every round. Now, in the first round of this rematch, out comes Farias. Farias had been giving it lip beforehand at the weigh-in and getting in her face, trying to intimidate her, and she picked up where she left off because she got in Sandy's face, started throwing those big wild hooks that she likes. She's very, very deceptively speedy and accurate with the overhand right. But you take that away from her, and it's a main tool a main weapon in her arsenal, and you take that away from her, she becomes sort of half the fighter. Sandy stayed disciplined. After that, she rode out that sort of mini storm in the first round. I gave Farias the first round. And in the second round, Sandy went to work with the jab. She controlled the range beautifully, staying just out of range. The moment Farias took a step forward, Sandy would very often try the jab. More often than not, that it landed. Then she'd step out just out of range, just a little bit out of range, trying to draw Farias in. Farias grew increasingly frustrated as the fight went on, looking for the big hooks. That direct Route 1 charge, it wasn't working anymore. Sandy had found some sort of rhythm. She was popping the jab. There wasn't a lot of body work going on from anyone, from either girl, which was disappointing. Especially from Farias, I'd have thought working the body. I know they're 2-minute rounds. I know there's only 10 of them, but I would bang to the body from the word go if I was what's that? 10 twos is 20 minutes of boxing. It's still enough time for that body work to really pay dividends in the second half of the fight. Farias wasn't doing that. She was looking for the head. A lot of her work was untidy, scuffing punches. Ryan was sharper, landed some very, very good jabs, stuck to the game plan, which was stay on the back foot. This wasn't a particularly entertaining fight. The first fight was much more entertaining. But it wasn't a slugfest. Ryan didn't let it be a slugfest. Farias wanted it and started showing out and showing a bit of frustration, saying, come on, fight me, Ryan was like, no. We're doing things my way this time. And she did very, very well, I think, tactically. Clifton Mitchell is in her corner, giving her some good advice between rounds in the corner, making sure she stayed focused, no deviating from the script this time. And it looked to me like Ryan, even though for certainly the first round, she looked like she was a little bit nervous, had to settle in. But once she found her rhythm, it did seem like she had several gears that she could have gone through. If this was 12 threes, say, you would have put money on Ryan doing them with relative ease. Because Farias, although she was threatening and she had that, she was steaming forward and trying to look very ominous, and she wasn't doing anything, not really. There was the occasional overhand right that landed, which just kind of was a little alarm bell, a little miniature alarm bell for Sandy. Watch yourself now. But the moment that happened, she went back to the game plan. And the discipline was good to see. I think, I mean, when you consider how bad she took that defeat, look, I'm someone, if you've watched my videos before, you will know that I don't care about defeats. It's whether you learn from them, right? We've got to be bad before we can be good. And that sometimes means losing. That sometimes means being humbled. That sometimes means learning the lesson the hard way. So if she wasn't living the life, and I think Clifton Mitchell said after the fight, you never know what they're doing once they leave the gym. When they go home, are they eating right? Are they sleeping properly, or going to bed late, or whatever? You've got to live the life. And she learnt that the hard way in the first fight. 4 pounds overweight in the first fight. She comes in for the rematch. She looks in optimum shape, physical shape, and she showed good discipline. So clearly there was a mental hump she had to get over, and she's done that. So in other words, that first fight, coupled with the second fight, that was a huge learning curve for her. There's no need to feel suicidal about things. There's no need to feel, obviously you lose a fight, you're going to feel down, but there's no need for a fighter who loses to regard it as anything other than a mere bump in the road, if you learn from it, right? And I'm really, really delighted for Sandy that she's come through this, because mental health, problems, they're no joke, as we know. Sometimes people kill themselves over the most ridiculous, or what seems like the most ridiculous thing. But yeah, she was quite emotional at the end of the fight. Farias thought she'd won, which she definitely did not win. Like I say, 2 of the judges had it 96, 94. I thought it was too close. Maybe at a squeeze you could give Farias 3 rounds, so 97, 93. But I had it 98, 92. Sharing that view as one of the judges. There was talk about putting Sandy Ryan in with Chantel Cameron. Way too early for that. I don't see the point of that at all. Sandy's got one of these belts, these WBC trinkets. I would defend that a few times, get at least another 2 or 3 10-rounders under your belt. Yeah, another 3 10-rounders would be good. Defend that belt, maybe go for another B-level titles, a couple of them. Just get more experience. But bearing in mind what Sandy Ryan said before the fight, I think she needs to concentrate on that the mental side of things, the mental strength, the psyche. She needs to really, really get an ability to have an accurate perspective on how to navigate her way through life. Now, I know that sounds a bit vague, but she was saying before the fight in the interview, boxing's everything to me. I don't know what else I do, and she's putting pressure on herself. And there's an art to honing your mental, your emotional skills, where you are in control of your emotions, you are in control of your thoughts, rather than them controlling you. And that takes time, that takes practice. And once again, as we know, there is no substitute for life experience. I say Sandy Ryan should have at least another 3 10-rounders, maybe more. Don't go after Chantel Cameron yet. No point in that. Let Chantel clean up the division, or not. Let someone else clean it up. And then, meanwhile, you go about your work over the next couple of years. You get yourself nice and mentally strong, physically strong, and then you make your move. All right? You don't have to be fast-tracked. This is only 5 fights Sandy Ryan's had. But yeah, she's made progress, and I'm pleased for her. Farias, no spring chicken, tough girl, had previously only lost to world champs. She had 5 defeats on her record before this, all to world champs. Pursoon, I think she lost twice to Michaela Mayer, and Cecilia Brackhouse beat her, and there's one other who's escaping me. But good fighter, can still pick up some paychecks. You never know, women's boxing. Maybe she could make a run and become a world champ again. I don't know. But yeah, it wasn't the most entertaining of fights, but I thought it was an interesting one because of the psychological ramifications to it for Sandy Ryan, and how she handled the event, how she learned from her mistakes, and how she was, it's kind of make or break mentally for her, and she did well. I think she did very well. But onwards and upwards for her. Did you see the fight? Again, not the most exciting of fights, but interesting for other reasons. Let me know your thoughts below. As always, thank you for listening to this video, watching this video. I always appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, by all means subscribe, like the video. I always appreciate your time. Speak again soon, and meanwhile, as always, take care of yourselves. Bye for now.